musk oxen tighten their circle against the wind as Arctic hares bound across drifts and ptarmigan burst suddenly skyward.
The Arctic tundra stretches endless and frozen, where soil remains locked in permafrost and
Winter dominates most of the year, limiting vegetation growth and forcing every living creature into constant negotiation with cold.
Winds sweep unhindered across the open plains, stripping warmth from exposed ground and shaping the tundra's stark, resistant terrain. Beneath this frozen surface lies permafrost, a layer of permanently frozen soil that defines how life can exist here.
Only the hardiest plants endure these conditions, growing low to the ground, where wind and cold cannot easily destroy them.
A caribou herd crosses the open plain, their thick coats insulating them as they migrate across hundreds of miles of tundra.
Snowy owls watch silently from elevated perches, scanning vast white plains for the faintest movement beneath the drifting snow.
During winter storms, survival depends on shelter, energy conservation, and an ability to locate scarce food resources quickly.
Yet despite the harsh climate, the tundra supports a surprising network of interconnected species. Each animal here has evolved strategies that allow life to persist where most environments would remain silent.
In this frozen ecosystem, survival is not about strength alone, but adaptation refined across thousands of years. Beneath the snow, lemmings move constantly through insulated tunnels, feeding on roots and moss protected from the cold above. Their populations rise and fall dramatically, influencing nearly every predator that depends on them across the tundra. Snowy owls often follow these population cycles, nesting and raising young when lemmings become abundant.
Arctic foxes also rely heavily on these small mammals, locating them through sound beneath thick snow layers.
Suddenly the fox leaps, plunging headfirst into powdery snow in an attempt to capture hidden prey below.
Above the tundra, ptarmigan blend perfectly with winter snow, their seasonal feathers providing effective camouflage.
During storms, these birds conserve energy, sheltering in snow depressions that reduce exposure to biting wind.
Arctic hares roam open ground in search of woody plants, relying on speed and sharp senses to detect danger. Their thick fur and compact bodies minimize heat loss, while powerful hind legs allow rapid escape.
When alarmed, several hares may scatter simultaneously, confusing predators attempting to focus on a single target.
In sheltered river valleys, willow shrubs provide rare winter browsing opportunities for herbivores. Caribou dig through snow using specialized hooves to uncover lichens buried beneath frozen layers. This slow feeding process requires patience, but lichens remain one of the tundra's most dependable winter foods.
Caribou migration also redistributes nutrients across the tundra, as thousands of animals move between seasonal grazing grounds.
Overhead, Arctic terns glide above frozen coastlines, preparing for the longest migration of any bird on Earth. Even insects survive here, emerging briefly during short summers when tundra plants bloom rapidly. The brief Arctic summer triggers an explosion of activity across the tundra ecosystem.
Snowmelt forms temporary wetlands where migratory birds gather to feed and breed.
Life accelerates during these weeks of continuous sunlight. Plants grow rapidly, converting sunlight into energy for the entire ecosystem. As snow retreats, tundra soils release trapped moisture, creating short-lived wetlands essential for breeding birds and emerging insects. Insect life explodes quickly, providing vital food for birds raising chicks in this narrow window of warmth. Arctic foxes adapt their routes with the season, shifting from snow hunting to foraging among summer grasses. The tundra may appear empty, yet beneath every shrub, countless small interactions shape the survival of larger animals. Caribou calves begin strengthening their legs, preparing for the long migrations that define their species. Their mothers remain alert,
scanning constantly across the open plains where predators roam.
Arctic wolves patrol distant ridges, searching the tundra for vulnerable prey within migrating herds. Wolves rely on cooperation, using endurance and strategy rather than speed alone in the vast open terrain. Musk oxen graze steadily on tundra grasses, their massive bodies conserving warmth in the Arctic wind. Their dense coats trap warm air, making musk oxen among the most cold-adapted mammals on Earth. When threatened, the herd gathers tightly, calves protected within a circle of horns and heavy bodies. In the Arctic tundra, strength alone rarely ensures survival. Cooperation often becomes the most reliable defense.
Arctic hares rely on exceptional speed, covering open ground quickly where shelter is scarce.
Their seasonal coat changes from brown to white, blending perfectly with the snowbound winter landscape. Snowy owls hunt silently across the tundra, using keen eyesight to detect movement from remarkable distances.
Even the smallest twitch beneath vegetation may reveal a hidden lemming.
Arctic foxes possess hearing sensitive enough to locate prey beneath deep snow.
After pinpointing movement, the fox launches a precise vertical leap into the snow.
Polar bears occasionally roam the tundra edges during summer, traveling between coastal hunting grounds.
Their immense bodies store energy reserves necessary for long periods between successful hunts. Their hooves function like snowshoes, spreading weight and allowing efficient travel across soft ground.
Herds move constantly to escape swarms of biting flies and mosquitoes.
Musk oxen prefer windy ridges where insects struggle to follow. Arctic wolves track herd movements carefully across open terrain.
Their endurance allows them to travel vast distances while searching for opportunities.
The tundra demands efficiency from every predator and prey alike.
Even birds like ptarmigan adjust behavior depending on season. In winter, they burrow into snow to conserve heat overnight.
Snow provides insulation against the cold air above.
Arctic fox dens become centers of intense activity during the breeding season.
Parents deliver food repeatedly to growing pups.
These early weeks determine the survival of the next generation. Across the tundra, sunlight continues almost endlessly through summer.
Plants convert this light rapidly into energy.
Herbivores take advantage of this brief abundance.
Yet winter will soon return to test every adaptation once again.
The Arctic fox's coat changes twice each year, shifting from winter white to summer brown and back again with the seasons.
Snowy owls fly in near silence, their feather structure absorbing the sound of flight and allowing them to surprise prey completely.
Polar bears are powerful swimmers, crossing open water between ice flues and tundra coastlines with ease.
A caribou's wide antlers serve not only for display during the rut, but as effective tools for clearing snow from grazing sites. Arctic wolves communicate across vast distances with deep, resonant howls that carry on the cold polar air.
Ptarmigan grow feathers down to the base of their toes in winter, providing insulation against the frozen ground.
Beneath the long outer coat of a muskox lies Kiviot, one of the finest and warmest natural fibers found in any mammal on Earth.
Arctic hares sometimes gather in large groups to share warmth and reduce individual exposure to predators.
When lemming populations peak, the tundra becomes rich with opportunity for every predator species above them in the food chain.
Snowy owls take advantage of abundant lemmings by raising unusually large broods, sometimes hatching 7 or 8 chicks in a single season. During migration, caribou herds cross rivers in mass crossings that test the endurance of calves and older animals alike.
Polar bear fur is structurally transparent and hollow, channeling solar energy toward the black skin beneath for additional warmth.
Arctic terns defend their nesting sites with fierce aerial dives, driving away intruders far larger than themselves.
Ptarmigan take advantage of summer vegetation to build up energy reserves before the long Arctic winter returns.
An Arctic fox follows a scent trail across open tundra with methodical precision, its nose never leaving the ground.
Male caribou shed their large antlers after the autumn rut, conserving energy through the demands of winter.
Snowy owls regurgitate compacted pellets of fur and bone, leaving them at favored perch sites across the tundra.
And Arctic wolves maintain territories through scent marking and howling, advertising their presence across miles of open tundra.
Musk oxen roll in soft summer soil to manage heat and shed their thick winter undercoat.
Arctic hares rise onto their hind legs to scan for predators, their elevated posture giving them a commanding view of the open terrain.
Lemmings excavate new tunnel sections daily, maintaining the underground network that shelters them through every Arctic season.
Fox pups practice the hunting techniques they will need as adults by playing with objects and chasing siblings.
Polar bear cubs follow their mother closely, learning the routes and behaviors that define survival in their world.
During the caribou rut, dominant males drive rivals away from their herds with dramatic displays and antler clashes.
Wolves rest efficiently during daylight hours, conserving energy for the demanding nocturnal hunts ahead. Ptarmigan molt their plumage multiple times each year, tracking seasonal camouflage requirements with remarkable precision.
Musk oxen graze with extraordinary patience, using slow, deliberate movements to minimize energy expenditure across the cold terrain.
Snowy owls call at dusk, the hollow, resonant sound carrying far across the open tundra.
Arctic hares feed in the early morning and late evening, when predator activity is lower, maximizing safety during vulnerable feeding.
Every adaptation across every species in this landscape represents millions of years of refinement for one of Earth's most demanding environments.
Small spiders weave webs among low shrubs, capturing tiny airborne insects that drift across the tundra on summer breezes.
Burrowing beetles tunnel through thawed soil layers during summer months, processing organic matter and aerating the ground.
Even microscopic organisms thrive within moist tundra moss, forming the invisible foundation of the entire food web.
Lemming tunnels reshape the soil and distribute nutrients underground, influencing which plants grow where.
These hidden engineers influence vegetation patterns across the tundra in ways visible only from above.
As afternoon fades, Arctic foxes increase their activity, using the longer shadows to approach prey with greater cover. Snowy owls become especially active at dusk, their exceptional low-light vision giving them a decisive advantage over their prey. Deep beneath the winter snow, lemmings sleep and forage in complete darkness, guided entirely by touch and smell. Tundra bumblebees play an outsized role in the ecosystem, pollinating the few plant species that feed entire tundra herbivore populations.
Even tiny microhabitats within the tundra, south-facing banks, boulder fields, sheltered gullies, support unique communities of plants and animals.
Lichens may grow only a millimeter per year, yet they form one of the most reliable food sources across the entire Arctic tundra.
Moss beds retain moisture through the brief Arctic summer, providing critical water and food for insects and small mammals. Small tundra pools support entire food chains, from algae and invertebrates upward through fish to diving birds.
Many ground nesting birds conceal their eggs with camouflage coloration so perfect they are almost impossible to detect.
Arctic foxes are opportunistic feeders, scavenging the remains of larger predator kills when hunting fails.
Small songbirds nest on the tundra only in the warmest summer weeks, raising chicks with extraordinary speed. The emergence of insects in summer triggers a brief but intense feeding frenzy among every bird species on the tundra.
Spider silk collects moisture from Arctic fog, creating tiny water sources for small invertebrates in an otherwise dry environment.
Beetles and other decomposers break down organic matter that accumulates slowly in the cold tundra, cycling nutrients back into the soil. Tundra plant roots grow horizontally rather than deep, spreading widely just beneath the permafrost surface to access maximum moisture. The seasonal thaw of the active soil layer above permafrost releases a pulse of water and nutrients that drives the Arctic summer.
Arctic wildflowers bloom and set seed within mere weeks, their life cycle tightly compressed into the narrow summer window.
Seeds carried by wind travel across the tundra, finding new ground where conditions allow germination years later. Each tundra pond is a complete ecosystem, supporting producers, consumers, and decomposers in a compact aquatic community.
Dragonflies patrol tundra pools in summer, completing their life cycle with surprising speed in the brief warmth.
Caribou feed selectively on the most nutritious tundra plants during summer, building reserves for the energy demands of migration.
The relationship between lemming and fox is one of the tundra's most defining ecological connections, shaping population cycles for both species.
Arctic terns build their nests as simple scrapes on open tundra ground, relying on aggressive defense rather than concealment.
Ptarmigan chicks are mobile within hours of hatching, following their parents immediately into the tundra vegetation.
Wolf pups play at the den entrance through summer, developing the coordination and social bonds essential to pack life.
Musk ox calves stay in physical contact with their mothers almost constantly during their first weeks of life.
And polar bears are expert swimmers, crossing open Arctic waters that would be impassable to most other tundra mammals.
Caribou calves can outrun most predators within days of birth, the speed of development critical to survival in a land of wolves.
An Arctic fox family moves together across their summer territory, the pups increasingly independent as the season progresses.
Every connection in the tundra ecosystem is essential culpers. Remove one species and the entire web shifts. The hidden world of the tundra is not emptiness. It is a densely woven story playing out just below the surface of the visible.
Autumn signals the gradual return of Arctic cold.
Migratory birds prepare for journeys thousands of miles long.
Caribou herds begin their long seasonal movement once again. Wolves follow the shifting migrations across frozen landscapes.
Arctic fox coats slowly transition to winter white.
Musk oxen gather in tighter groups as temperatures fall.
The first hard frost of autumn crystals every plant surface overnight, signaling the beginning of the long freeze. Tundra plants begin preparing for dormancy, pulling nutrients back from leaves into roots before the freeze locks the ground.
The Arctic fox's winter coat is now fully grown, among the warmest natural insulating coats of any animal in the world. Ptarmigan are completing their transition to winter plumage, their summer-mottled brown coats replaced by dense winter white.
Musk oxen form into their larger winter groups, the herd social structure tightening as shared warmth becomes an important survival strategy.
Caribou herds from different summer ranges merge into massive autumn aggregations, tens of thousands of animals moving together.
Arctic wolves match the caribou's increasing pace, traveling longer distances as the herds grow and accelerate.
Snowy owls claim and defend winter territories on the tundra, selecting sites with reliable lemming populations below.
The Arctic hare's winter coat reaches its maximum density, trapping air in its fine hollow hairs to create exceptional insulation. Polar bears move toward the coast as autumn sea ice begins to form, returning to the frozen ocean hunting grounds they depend upon.
Arctic terns begin their epic journey south, crossing continents and oceans to reach Antarctic waters. Tundra ponds freeze over one by one, their summer communities sealed beneath expanding ice. The first sustained snowfall of the season begins, the flakes fine and dry, carried horizontal by the rising wind. An Arctic fox moves across the first fresh snow, leaving the only set of tracks visible across an otherwise unmarked white surface. Caribou lower their heads and continue feeding through the snow, pawing to reach buried vegetation with practiced efficiency. Musk oxen stand immovable against the rising snow wind, their broad backs to the weather, coats shedding every flake.
Arctic wolves find their white winter coats provide effective concealment in the returning snowscape.
Ptarmigan in full winter white disappear into the snowscape, their camouflage now complete and nearly perfect.
The tundra falls silent again, Fife. The summer birds gone, the insects gone. Only rivers lock into winter ice, their summer paths preserved as pale blue channels beneath the white surface.
Winter darkness begins to return to the high Arctic, the sun's daily arc shrinking toward the polar horizon.
Animals settle into their winter routines, each conserving heat, seeking food efficiently, waiting for the cycle to turn again. Arctic fox dens are reinforced for winter, the family dispersed but individuals carrying the season's lessons. Snowy owls hunt through the polar night, their pale forms ghosting silently over frozen tundra in near-total darkness. Lemmings continue feeding and moving in their sealed world beneath the snow, sustained by cached plant material and continuing metabolism. Caribou herds condensed into tight formations against the winter cold, shared body heat reducing individual energy expenditure.
Musk oxen deploy every physical and behavioral adaptation they possess, coat, formation, and careful.
The tundra at the edge of winter night holds its breath, a landscape reduced to its most essential truth.
In silence and cold, this resilient ecosystem continues its ancient rhythm of endurance beneath the polar sky.
A snowy owl drifts above the moonlit tundra, barely distinguishable from the night sky, navigating by sound alone.
A caribou herd rests in a sheltered valley, the animals lying close together, the steam of their collective warmth rising into the still night.
The tundra by night reveals a landscape older than memory, unchanged in its essential nature for 10,000 years.
Tracks in the snow tell the night's story. Fox and owl and lemming have all passed through this empty-seeming space.
The Arctic fox pauses at dawn's first suggestion, watching the pale horizon brighten with the promise of a returning sun.
Musk oxen stir as the light grows, beginning the slow, deliberate feeding that will fuel another day in the frozen world.
The wolf pack greets the returning day with brief howls that carry for miles across the frozen silence.
Ptarmigan call from within their snow roosts, testing the morning before emerging into the cold open air.
Arctic hares emerge from their overnight shelters, feeding quickly in the brief morning calm before wind returns. A lemming briefly surfaces into the cold morning air, whiskers trembling, then retreats again to the safer world below. Far to the south, a polar bear reaches the coast and pauses at the ice edge, its ancient hunting ground restored by winter cold.
Somewhere to the south, Arctic terns are crossing the equator, carrying the tundra's summer energy halfway around the planet.
A tundra bumblebee, frozen beneath tundra moss.
Tundra moss holds the memory of every season, each year's layer compressed into the growing mat that sustains the living world above.
A frozen river holds its summer voice beneath the ice, the current still running in the darkness below the white surface. Wind shapes the snow into ever-changing sculptures, the tundra's surface never the same twice.
As the morning progresses, the tundra reveals the connections invisible at first glance, each species positioned precisely within the whole.
The ecosystem functions as one vast, interconnected organism, every death feeding another life, every movement rippling outward. A caribou calf, now several months old, trots confidently through the herd, Polrus, the lessons of summer written in its movement. An Arctic hare stands erect on a frozen ridge, its form perfectly white against the pure winter sky. The muskox's ancient form has barely changed in thousands of years, a living remnant of the lemmings will surge in number when spring comes tuned, their explosion of life triggering cascades through every layer of the food web above. The ptarmigan's camouflage is so complete that the tundra could hold 100 of them, and you would walk past every one. Caribou migration is one of the great journeys of the living world. Lulin, a river of antlers crossing an ocean of white.
Arctic terns will return in the spring, carrying the energy of Antarctic summer back to these shores.
The polar bear at the ice edge raises its muzzle to the wind, reading a language older than any written by human hands. Everything here endures Basi, not despite the cold, but because of 10,000 generations of life that shaped.
The tundra stretches in every direction, Ray. Vast, patient, ancient. A world.
As the sun approaches the horizon, the tundra transforms. Gold becoming rose, becoming violet. The Arctic sky at dusk carries colors found nowhere else. Impossible purples and burning oranges. And so the Arctic tundra continues Toth, ancient, enduring, alive, allules.